Welcome back, and now Bitcoin transactions with SMS, presenting Stick. Thank you.
Hello. So, some time ago when I read about an effort by Blockstream and their satellite, I was thinking, well, this is surely great, but we are somehow missing the way how to send transactions after we are able to receive the blocks via the satellite. And I thought about, well, something that might be really obvious, and that's sending them via SMS. There are a couple of services that are used for receiving SMS, and once they receive a message, they will call a callback on some server. So I did, like, it was literally a 15-minute project. I set it up and it has been running since then with some interruptions. But overall, it's so simple that basically everybody can run it. It's a few lines of code, and it's also not very expensive. There are several operators that can provide this bridge between SMS and the internet. The most known is Twilio. There is Nexmo and a couple of others, and their pricing is pretty good. If you have only the receiving number for messages and calls, it costs around 50 cents per month. So for $6 or euros, you can have a number for the whole year. So there has been a question during the panel: what happens if somebody blocks my service? Well, there can be another 10 services just for $60 for the next year. So it is kind of anti-fragile. So what I will show here is I have an Electrum running, and it can create transactions which are not broadcasted directly to the network, but rather it will show you the raw form, which you can then use and send via SMS, for example. So let's send the transaction like I would normally do. So I will again use this Bitcoin address from our beer fund, and yeah, let's send 50,000 Satoshi. And now, instead of send, I click preview on Electrum because I'm offline. It will show the details of the transaction, but it's not yet signed. So I click sign on the bottom right corner. I need to provide a password, and now the transaction is signed. And if I was online, I could just click broadcast and broadcast it to the network, but I don't want to broadcast it via the internet, so I just click save. Sorry, I just click export. This will be saved as a file. What happened here is I clicked save, and it's a feature of Electrum, and it would appear here in my transaction history as this is waiting to be broadcasted, but it is not yet broadcasted, and I exported it to a file which was it was this file, signed _, the ID of the transaction. So let's look inside. Here's the raw transaction that I'm going to be sending. You could do the same via Bitcoin CLI command, for example, but, well, I'm a power user, but I still prefer clicking. So that's how I created it. So I copy it, and now I have to transfer it to the phone. I could type it, of course, but I will save some time. I will cheat a little bit and send it to myself via Telegram. As you can see, I have very interesting conversation with myself over the Telegram. There are lots of raw transactions and lightning payments. I wonder what the FSB is thinking of all of this. So, meanwhile, I will log to my server, which is running the service. And here is the output log from the service, which is handling the SMS. In the meanwhile, I can look the transaction on the Blocks Explorer here. And it's of course not there because I haven't broadcasted it yet. I will use our Explorer. So yeah, so it's not there in the mempool. It hasn't been broadcasted. So there are already people sending some stuff. So let's just enter the way. So the gateway works, and the gateway is running on that particular phone number. It's 180.86 Bitcoin. So you can use that. You now know which number to use. And basically anything that's forwarded to this number will end up at my server. So let's try and send the transaction I just created to this number. Where is it? So now I will send the SMS, and let's wait. It's the suspense is killing me. Okay, so here you can see that's the first message, second message, and the third message. The transaction was a little bit longer, so it was split into 3 different chunks. It was sent to our backend servers, and if I refresh this page, the transaction is there. And let's see if Electrum knows it was already there. Let's just remove this local transaction. Let's try connecting to a different Electrum server. I don't know, for example, I will just restart Electrum. Yeah, it's synchronizing, and it should appear there as well after it's synchronized. It's funny that synchronizing, there it is, yeah. So now it's unconfirmed, it's still waiting in the mempool to be confirmed, but as you have seen, the SMS gateway works, and if it receives something that is not a hex raw transaction, like for example this, it will not push the transaction to the server, and that's basically it. Thank you.
Yeah, we have time for questions, and then break, and then the last demo of the day and of the conference. Questions for Stick? Nothing?
Yeah.
One.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I heard about a project, a guy on Twitter by the name, goes by Rich D, is working on called, I think he calls it Electena. Have you heard about this one? So it's basically a project where he's trying to hook up GoTenna to also send these transactions. Just wondering if you'd heard of that and if you thought that
Well,
was...
unfortunately, I haven't heard of that. Like I said, this was just a 15-minute project of mine, and it has been running since. I have to admit, I don't really follow all the things that are happening in this area, but I know about your project, and also I'm interested in LoRaWAN and other experiments, but haven't heard about that.
Yeah, cool. But it was really nice to see that.
Yeah.
Second question.
Yeah. Can we turn on the screen for a second until we have another question? Yeah. So everything I do is open source, and there's the source code for the small server that is running and accepting the callbacks from the service. It is tailored for using with Nexmo, but I'm pretty sure it will be almost completely the same if you are using some other provider. So keep, you can try it. The more gateways, the better, I guess.
So is it tomorrow part of the workshops?
Sorry, once again?
Is it part of the workshops tomorrow to set something like this up, or to show us how to set something like this?
Well, I'm here all day tomorrow, so if anybody is interested in trying that and setting up their own, let's meet and make it happen.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much again to Stig.